Hey guys, this is my third time filming this video because apparently I don't know how cameras work. I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but a few months ago I asked you guys on my Instagram story, is your first impression of me the same as your current impression of me? And to be honest, I was expecting a bunch of no's because I felt like I changed quite a bit over the past few years, but surprisingly it was a half and half. So half of those people said yes and half of those people said no. And among the people who said yes, I felt like there was a bunch of people who have known me for a very long time, which I'm really grateful for. And there were a bunch of people who also said yes, but they knew me from college or university, so it hasn't been that long. When it comes to self-perception, I think about how I can express myself because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and if people don't see me for who I am, then that's it. But it really got me thinking because I really want to be seen for who I am, and I often wonder whether or not my own self-perception can actually be expressed to the outside world. And I think people are fluid and people behave differently based on different circumstances and different people. But I was still wondering, what are the core parts of my personality that I would show to everyone? So let us enter the topic of self-perception theory. Self-perception theory is a theory by the psychologist Daryl Bem, which suggests that in a situation where there is a lack of personal experience or no personal experience, it is possible that people attach certain attributes to their personality based on their expected behaviors. In this way, feelings are a consequence of behavior and not the other way around. Research has demonstrated that when people are induced to feel happy, they report actually feeling it despite being unaware of how the feelings arose in the first place. There have been experiments where subjects reported a change in emotion based on their behavior. Such behaviors include changing their facial expressions, their gazes, and their posture. Participants also reported feeling more happy when they viewed cartoons while smiling compared to when they were frowning. Those that were smiling also scored lower in aggression tests compared to those that were frowning when they watched the cartoons. People love to read other people. It's a subconscious thought process that happens to everyone. In modern times, we mostly use emotions in more of a social context. People may judge you based on the sound of your voice, how you look, how you dress, and they attach certain personality types based on what they observe. There's also something called confirmation bias, which is a cognitive bias that involves favoring information based on previously existing beliefs or biases. So for example, if this teacher thinks that this student doesn't really have much academic potential and isn't really worth investing in, and when the student eventually comes out with unsatisfactory results, that itself is a confirmation bias that tells the teacher that this student isn't really worth investing in. Of course, I use this example quite liberally as I don't think it's professional for educators to judge students solely based on their academic potential, but it's a great example that shows how our cognitive bias affects us in our daily lives. So if you think that something is this way, you may actually believe that it's this way for your entire life because you constantly receive external information from the outside world that confirms those beliefs. From here, you can see that there's a slight overlap between the two theories, self-perception theory and also confirmation bias. So one of them is based on no personal experience and the other one is based on previously existing beliefs. I think it's so interesting that both theories are able to coexist in some way and we don't even realize that it's happening. In simple terms, this is how we get to know ourselves, from the external perceptions of others and also internal evaluation. We can also have internal evaluation based on our own experiences, and we judge our character based on those experiences. People are trying to get to know themselves on a deeper level nowadays, which explains the rise in popularity of personality tests. They can be the MBTI test, the Enneagram test, or even astrology. Alright, I know that there are many mixed opinions about astrology, But what makes all these things so relatable may be the fact that they actually adhere to our confirmation bias about ourselves. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes it's good to reaffirm yourself that you are something positive. I think it becomes more of an issue when people rely on these tests too much to gain a sense of self, and they think that every single line in the results is accurate. In a way, it isn't actually considered a sense of self, because it's what these tests are trying to tell us. Whether or not it's actually true is still up to us to decide. Hence, there are some people who refuse to take those personality tests. I'm sure you guys know of Hank Green and his TikTok, and he explained why he didn't want to take the MBTI test.
Type is, quote, way too precious to ever take the Myers-Briggs personality test. You can't put me in a box. I'm too special.
And you know what? I have to mention this because one of my favorite K-pop groups, SHINee, one of the members actually talked in a recent interview about why he doesn't want to take the MBTI test, because the results are so incredibly defined, and if he knows his results, he may actually feel restricted in some way. There are billions of people on Earth, and there's no way that each person is tied to these specific personality types. You know, in a way, this is actually the plot of Divergent. Get it? Because they don't want to be defined and they're the divergents. Both of these theories actually taught me to decide my own sense of self for myself and not let other people's feelings or opinions define that. I think if you start expressing yourself as who you are, the world will eventually open up and see you for who you are as well. I once read this quote that goes, "If you don't decide who you are, the world will decide it for you." At the end of the day, you can't really control how people think of you, but I feel like this is so liberating because self-expression is fluid and it can change every single day. In a way, you can change how you see yourself every single day. Does it make sense? Because I feel like people can judge you for your appearance or your likes and dislikes. In a way, you can actually change how people see you on the inside. For example, how you carry yourself, how you treat other people, and how you make them feel. So don't feel like you have to stick to a certain brand or behave a certain way just because it's how people know you to be. At the end of the day, I feel like if you start making these small changes, people won't even realize, and sooner or later, they'll think that it's actually you the whole time. Even if you're just faking it, fake it till you make it. Because sometimes you just have to give yourself the courage to try. Like when I was in college and I could dress however I wanted to campus, I was kind of scared to incorporate new things into my style. At first, I was kind of scared to do that. So what I did was I told myself that if I start dressing the way I want to dress, eventually people will just see me and be like, oh, that's how Vanessa dresses, that's her style. People won't even remember what I dressed like in the past or anything like that. This segment kind of makes me feel like this Noah Centineo quote that goes, I just wanted to say it matters not what you've done, but what you do with what you've done for others. I hope I'm not being too repetitive, but yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because self-expression is limitless. When you express yourself, that's how you gain a sense of self. Does it make sense? Like, that's a cycle right there. This idea originally came to me when I was watching a Vsauce video called Perceptions of Time, and I originally wanted to discuss one of the concepts that Michael discussed, protagonist syndrome, which is the belief that you are the main character of the universe and all of the events of the world, of the universe, revolve around you and your story arc. I'm sure you guys have seen those TikToks where people romanticize like regular parts of their lives and pretend that they're the main character in this storybook or universe, which I think was really interesting. But then I got super interested in how I perceive myself and not really about how other people see me. Well, to some people who actually take that main character thing to the extreme, there's actually a type of narcissism for that, and it's called malignant narcissism. When I started researching on malignant narcissism, I figured like, oh, is this too boring for my first video? And since I'm talking about self-perception and first impressions, I figured there's no better time than to do this right now in my second video. So if anyone thinks any similar thoughts that I did, please let me know and let's have a healthy discussion in the comments, because I'm always interested to hear what other people think, and you know, maybe this is something you've never thought of before. Maybe you only thought about how people view you, and sometimes when you get too obsessed with that, it kind of makes things super hard because you're unsure whether or not you're actually expressing how other people see you in the day, on a day-to-day basis, which kind of creates this imposter syndrome thing. So I feel like it's something that I had to address. Our entire life is online, and people judge us every single day based on our presence online. Let me know if there are any topics that you guys want me to discuss, because I'm trying to get more comfortable in front of the camera, and I think I'm doing it now, but I'm still kind of scared because I feel like it's quite daunting because everything is online now, and if I don't actually start incorporating the human parts of my personality into an online platform, I think I'll just be seen as like a character on the screen. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!